Hi and welcome back to Sarah's Texture Crafts. Today we're going to be looking at processing some fleece onto our drum carder. So here I've got this beautiful Murret Burret Shetland fleece. So that means it's got brown with this wonderful hint of the light grey, and it gives us these really beautiful elements to the fleece. Okay, so we're going to start by just tearing off a small piece. Now with fleece, it's a different process to how you would handle tops onto your drum carder, and it's no more complicated really. It's just a matter of making sure that you try and free up a lot more of the fleece before you take it to the wheel, because it's going to be that much harder to process onto your actual drum. So if we actually separate that into a smaller piece and separate that, you might find that you might not be able to get full coverage straight away, so what you might be better off concentrating on is maybe one small section of your drum. So we'll aim for this section here. Just process that on as you would normally. You'll notice that it won't fill the needle points in the same way a top would do. A top would be quite sort of a good coverage and would separate itself amongst each of the points, whereas here actually what you're getting is just the occasional line of fleece. That's okay, because what you'll do is you continue to build that up with more and more fleece as you go. And what you will also notice is anything with a very fine curl, the curl will probably stay quite intact, and actually I think that's fantastic textural work for arty spinning, and also for felt making as well. So I try not to eliminate those. I just gently card over those and let those little curls get forced down in between the points, so they're sort of preserved, if you like. So you'll notice it's quite hard to turn the wheel, but if you do that slowly and gently, that shouldn't be a problem. And then once you've finished, just take some more fleece and work from the other side. Probably want to separate that out a little bit more. I'll take that bit off, that's a bit compact. I'll come back to that in a minute. That's fine for now. And the same with the other side, just gently process that down, never clamping hold of your fleece at any point in time, allowing this first drum to drag the fibre through and feed it onto your secondary drum. So again, pushing that through, and I always tend to sort of roll that main drum a few times more than's necessary, just so that it can help pull all of those stray fibres and keep them onto that main central drum and really compact in to form your bats, rather than sort of straying off down the side. So anything that's slightly too compact as you add it to the drum carder, just give it a gentle tease, and so on. Now, as I've said previously with fleece, never take anything that's full of grease or full of lanolin to the carder machine, because it just damages the carder essentially. What it does is it sort of pulls these needles, as it is a bit more difficult to feed through. So you don't really want to do that, because what you could end up doing is not only breaking these but misaligning these drums, and by doing that you're then not able to card. You would need to take the drum carder apart to correct that alignment. So just continuing to separate. And carry on turning the wheel as we go. And this part doesn't have too many curls, so that's going to be quite nice and easy to pass through. Customers have asked me in the past, how easy is it once you've got your fleece ready washed to card it and get rid of any more debris. The answer is that you don't always get rid of debris. You might be able to spot the odd little tiny piece here and there, and very carefully with your doffer you could gently tease that off between the needles, but essentially if it's in the fleece when it goes to the carder, it tends to stay into the fleece. So always make sure that you prep your fleece and wash it carefully before you take anything to the drum carder. If you notice anything on the feed tray, like there's a spot of debris there, then you just take that and put that to one side so that it doesn't get dragged through with any more fibre. But essentially you want to try and pick out any major pieces of debris that you see, or any ends that aren't slightly washed enough, and put those to one side. So again, just pressing those through. It's getting a little bit harder to pull that drum card round, and that's just purely because the batt is getting more compact, so it's having a harder time processing and combing each of those fibres into place. So just carry on until you get to a point where you feel that you have enough on your drum to take that off as a batt. So if I try and speed up a bit now, otherwise we'll end up with a 20-minute video. Taking that through. Again, pulling it apart where necessary, removing any small bits of debris that you might be able to see, and feeding that through. Now you can see that that's quite full now. So what I'll do is I'll just give it another couple of turns, and you probably could keep going, there's room to keep going, but for the purpose of this tutorial I'll probably leave it at that right now. So what we do, as we do with any batt, is take your doffing tool, and the point needs to go through the groove behind the fibre, and you gently pull that away. It will take a bit more work than your comb tops because it's not fully processed. And I just gently ease that off. You don't want to pull it too hard, too fast, otherwise you'll break teeth on your drum card. Okay. Yeah. Sort of this is quite different to a top batt, in that with batts you've made from tops and rovings, they will come away quite easily from the drum carder, whereas with a fleece, particularly on the first pass, which this is, you'll get lots of bits that stick in between the teeth and are hard to pull apart, so I tend to be a little bit more careful with that and gently pull that apart. These first pass batts on fleeces are never the most gorgeous of things. In terms of technique at least, but it's the initial point of carding. I don't at this stage worry about getting every little piece off, but I'll pull off what I can. So you end up with something that looks like that. So already, if I turn to that side, you can see that's quite different from the main fleece. You've got rid of quite a few of these curls, so in terms of spinning you've got a much more combed, and the fibres are much more aligned, ready to take to the wheel. And also for felt making, a first pass will give you a slight element of texture, but a good base to be able to make your felt piece from. Now what you would do if you're a spinner is to card this again. I'd probably give fleece 2, 3, maybe 4 passes, depending on how complex your fleece is, or how coarse the fibres are. For example, the Shetland may take 2 or 3 passes if I wanted to get everything completely smooth. And personally I quite like having some of the textures, so I may only leave it for a second time. But here's how I would split my bat to recard it and pass it through a second time. Just take the whole bat as it is, tearing from the top to the bottom, right through the centre, like so. Then opening your fibres again and popping those onto the wheel of your first drum. Passing those through, there'll be a little bit